An unmarked white envelope addressed to me. That's where it all began. I'm Sarah, nearing 60. 15 years ago, I divorced my husband after discovering his affair. And since then, I've been living on my own. For the past year, I've been staying with my second son and his girlfriend, Daisy. My eldest son, Tom, now 35, lives in an apartment near his workplace. Life was quiet and routine with me working part-time until the day this mysterious envelope arrived. It was crudely marked with my name and address with no indication of a sender. Inside was a hotel bill. What's this? I wondered aloud. Upon closer inspection, I realized the bill wasn't addressed to me but to my eldest son, Tom. A detailed wedding and reception expenses dated about 2 weeks ago. What could this mean? Did Tom get married? Tom had a girlfriend I met once a few months back, but there was no mention of marriage at the time. I didn't have the best impression of her. Her name was Michelle, if I recall correctly. She barely made eye contact and seemed constantly uncomfortable, punctuating her speech with and oh as if something was bothering her. Could it be that Tom actually married her? I quickly called Tom, but he didn't answer, likely because he was at work. I decided to leave a message on the landline at the apartment where Tom lived, and to my surprise, a woman picked up. It was Michelle. When she realized it was me, she spoke with irritation. "Ah, this is why I told Tom we should get rid of this landline. What does this mean? Did you two get married? Are you living together?" I fired off a series of questions. Michelle responded in a flat, indifferent tone. "Yeah, we got married. We're living together now. So what?" "So what?" I received a bill from the hotel. I didn't hear anything about a wedding. "Oh, that arrived already? I sent it because I thought you'd pay," Michelle replied casually. "We picked a venue where we could pay later. We covered the deposit, but we figured you should take care of the rest." "What? They had a wedding without even inviting me, and now they expect me to pay?" I was completely at a loss for words. Michelle, sounding irritated but firm, said, "Tom was the one who insisted on marrying me. I found the whole mother-in-law thing too bothersome and declined many times. So naturally, you should be the one to pay. If you refuse, he realized Tom will end up buried in debt." Her cold tone snapped me back to reality. "What does Tom think about all this?" "He says it's fine, of course." "Oh, and don't bother trying to contact him. I made sure your number is blocked." "So that's why I couldn't reach him earlier." "Yes, and while we're at it, other than for weddings, funerals, and the like, please don't contact us at all. And even for those, we don't want anything that costs money." "Wait, just hold on a minute. Why are you avoiding me so much?" "It's obvious, isn't it? A mother-in-law is nothing but a nuisance. Besides, you're broke after your divorce, right? We can't have you begging us for money." I felt a surge of anger as I retorted, "If you think I'm so poor, why are you sending me this bill? That's a separate issue. Please make sure to pay it." With that, Michelle hung up abruptly. I stood there holding the receiver, completely stunned. "Mom," my second son, Jack's voice brought me back to reality. It felt like hours had passed since that phone call, and I was standing alone in a dark room. Tears overflowed as I explained everything to Jack. He hadn't heard anything about Tom's marriage and was now fuming with anger. It's unbelievable. That wife of his, she seems like trouble, doesn't she? I thought she might be a good match for my brother, but now..." "That's right. Tom, who was spoiled by my late mother-in-law, has looked down on me since he was a child. By middle school, he was calling me old hag and worthless. He, along with my mother-in-law and ex-husband, treated me terribly. Jack was the one who always stood up for me. After my divorce, I lived alone for a long time. But my kind son, worried I might be lonely, invited me to move in with him and his girlfriend, Daisy. What should I do about this bill? It's over $20,000. I could use the alimony from my ex-husband to pay it, but I honestly don't want to touch that money. I was planning to save it for your and Daisy's wedding, or for when you have kids. Both you and Daisy have always been so kind to me, so I decided to use all the alimony and property settlement money, which my stingy ex-husband scrimped and saved, for the two of you." Then my son said, "Mom, that money is yours. You don't have to use it for us, and it's completely unreasonable to use it for my brother. He took the bill from me. I'll get rid of this at work. Remember what my brother has done to you. You absolutely must not pay this." Even though my eldest son had treated me poorly, I still felt a sense of responsibility as his mother. If I kept the bill, I might end up paying it. Jack understood that, and I felt relieved. 2 weeks later, Michelle called me. "Hey, Why haven't you paid yet? The venue contacted me because the payment deadline has passed. I've discussed it with my second son, and we decided there's no need to pay. Besides, can't you cover it with the cash gifts from the wedding? I managed to voice my stance, though my heart raced with anxiety. Michelle's response was immediate and furious. We've moved, and we've already spent all the cash gifts. What are you going to do about this? What? You moved? Where to? None of your business. Just shut up. It was clear that Michelle wanted nothing to do with me. Realizing this, I steeled myself and proposed, "All right, I'll offer you $10,000. In return, we part ways completely, no contact, not even for weddings or funerals. We act as if the other person does not exist. What do you think?" But Michelle wasn't satisfied. $10,000 isn't enough. I need at least $20,000. What are you thinking? You didn't invite me to the wedding, you didn't tell me where you moved, and now you're asking for $20,000? I don't care. You probably have about 20 years left to live anyway. We plan to live twice as long as you, so I might as well take all your money while I can. That's just cruel, I said, struggling to keep my composure. Well, one way or another, we're going to get that $20,000 from you. Once you pay, we'll cut ties as you requested. I was eager to distance myself from Michelle, so I reluctantly agreed to her terms. Jack would probably be furious if he found out, but I wanted to avoid any more trouble from Tom and his wife. A year later, Jack married Daisy. As they were preparing to set up their new home, they asked me to move in with them, even though I had planned to live alone. In addition to giving them a wedding gift, I prepaid 2 years' rent for their new place and contributed to their mortgage. Then Michelle called again. I heard Tom's brother and his wife are building a house. You helped them, didn't you? Because of you, Tom is working 2 jobs and is exhausted. And you only gave us $20,000, Michelle said. It was clear she had heard about our new living arrangements somehow. I was taken aback. But you agreed to the terms back then. There's nothing I can do about it now. Shut up. We're having a baby. What are you going to do about that? Oh, really? Congratulations. But remember, we agreed to cut all ties, so I'm not giving you a penny. Despite her attempts to pressure me, I remained firm. You think you can use a grandchild as a bargaining chip. Even if your baby is born, you won't be seeing them. You'll regret it. With that, Michelle hung up. It seemed she believed a grandchild could control a mother-in-law. While I'd love to have a grandchild, I'm already expecting one. Actually twins, a boy and a girl. Daisy is 8 months pregnant. Tom's child doesn't interest me at all. 6 months later, Daisy gave birth to the twins, and I was joyfully and busily caring for them. Then I received an email from Tom with a photo attached. It showed a beautiful baby with Michelle and Tom. Since we had already cut ties, it was none of my business. When I continued to ignore it, Michelle called me, her frustration evident in her voice. Did you see the picture? Isn't it incredibly cute? Yes, it is. So, what do you want? Don't speak like that. I went out of my way to show you your grandchild, your eldest grandson. You could at least send a congratulatory gift. What? I thought we agreed to no contact except for weddings, funerals, and such. Yes, that was the agreement, but normally a grandparent would send a congratulatory gift or something. I wasn't surprised by her approach. No, I'm sticking to the agreement, Michelle. Realizing it was pointless to argue further, Michelle handed the phone to Tom. That's your deal with Michelle, not mine. Send me the celebratory money. Tom, ever skilled at twisting logic, said, It's your eldest grandson, you know. Don't you think you should be looking out for him? According to Tom, how they treat their grandchild will somehow influence how I'm treated in my old age. I really don't need you to worry about my old age, I replied. Huh? You think you can rely on Jack? With 2 kids of his own, do you really believe he can take care of you when you're older? I'm not planning to rely on Jack and his family. So what's your plan? I know you didn't get much from Dad's alimony. Wouldn't it be better to stay on good terms with us now? Tom said triumphantly. To that, I answered, As I've said, I'll be fine. I've been contributing to a personal pension plan since I was single. It's an old policy with good rates, and I'll be receiving about $800 a month starting this year. Additionally, my work history qualifies me for a government pension of around $800 as well. I can manage comfortably on both. Tom seemed stunned by my response. After a moment of stunned silence, he stammered, But that's only enough if nothing goes wrong. When you get older and your health declines, you'll end up coming to us for help. Chuckling, I replied, "Don't worry, I canceled the life insurance policy where you were the beneficiary." I had originally taken out life insurance policies for both Tom and Jack when they were born, with them each as beneficiaries. I canceled Tom's to cover the $20,000 bill. There's plenty of money from the cancellation, so you needn't worry. Canceled. Are you serious? Yes, indeed. It's a shame, really. If I hadn't canceled it, you would have received about $100,000 when I passed away. No way. If you're looking to blame someone, point the finger at Michelle. She was the one who insisted on getting the $20,000 from me by any means necessary. The cancellation refund was only about $50,000, so I had around $30,000 left. Less than what might shock Tom, but I wasn't obligated to disclose the exact amount. Satisfied with Tom's stunned silence, I hung up the phone. Shortly after, it appeared Tom and Michelle had a massive argument. There's talk of divorce, but discussions about alimony and child support are stalled, leaving them living separately within the same house. It's like watching the downfall of someone obsessed with money. Meanwhile, I've taken up part-time work as a cleaner to ensure I'm not a financial burden on Jack and his family during my retirement. Warmly welcomed by my son and his wife, and with the joy of 2 grandchildren,